Welcome back, viewers. This is Literary Goa, the program that looks at books and their authors. Today I have with me two interesting books, both brownish in color. They talk about Goa, a Goa that was, a Goa that you may have heard about if you are young, or that you may have lived through if you are old enough. And the author of the book, of course, is Joseph C. Fernandes. Joseph is from the island of Chorão, and he'll take us through both his books, which are very interesting. The first is called A Requiem for a Goan, and the second is called A Konkani Cocktail. Joseph, tell us when you wrote these books and what is their contents basically.
I had actually not intended to write anything because I was doing it for my own inward satisfaction. What happened was that I started in the balcony sitting and I realized that we Goans are unique. So I started noting down all the traditions that we have, how we behave, how we send invitations and things like that. Then I was diagnosed with heart problems, quadruple bypass, everything in my heart is over 60% blocked.
You wrote this after that?
Yes, then I said, my God, and I had been doing this from year 2000. 17 years I had been doing this, and then I said, hundreds of interviews with villagers and all. Then I said, I got to put it down.
You felt a sense of urgency?
Yes, that sense of urgency was there. That's why I wrote.
Of course, I know that to start the story, you were brought up outside Goa, Calcutta, if I'm not wrong, and then you studied at the Christian Brothers in Delhi and St. Stephen's.
Yes, and St. Stephen's.
Very prestigious institutions.
We're both, my God, they are. But my grandmother was the one who sort of instilled in me everything. She used to hold me on the umar in the kitchen, and she used to cover me with a cupboard and says, Zuzlo, that's Joe. Zuzlia, Ami Fidalg, we are Fidalgos. Truth, honor, and family. These are the three mottos by which you have to live. She had sent me Sir Galahad of Arthur Knight's Round Table and put me into the world with this. And I have kept these three. I walked out from my job with a multinational company without giving them notice because I didn't like the ethical practices being followed. And my objections were being overruled.
So your book was well appreciated both in Goa and Canada, more in Canada than in Goa, where people of a certain generation understood what you were talking about.
Yes, Canadians are so helpful here. I have to run around. But they, the moment they hear what I'm doing and all, now this is for a lecture which I have prepared for Canada, telling about our...
We'll come to that later.
Yeah.
But
this, so in 2017, I wrote 6 pieces. There were 35 altar boys at the Cathedral, Delhi. And that was like a group together. We have grown up together. We are still meeting together. So I wrote all angels with broken halos and things like that. I have always concentrated on making love.
They form part of the first book?
No.
Okay.
But the guys enjoyed it so much, the humor and all. They said, Joe, we never knew that you could write. So when I had my quadruple bypass done and found that my heart was 60%, over 60% blockages were there, I said I got to put down everything what we have on paper.
Like what?
Requiem for a Goa. I decided to concentrate and keep on record only our traditions. And this one contains what I thought was my best piece, the last one.
We'll come to that, but I liked the first one which I encountered first. I came across this book only a few weeks back.
Yeah.
But the first one, the Requiem for a Goan, you're talking about things like, I'll just give an example, how to tie a kasti.
Yeah.
An intro to Goans.
Yeah.
Okay, a god's Zamai, son-in-law with a problem.
Yeah.
And Sakru gives up drinks. All these kind of very quintessential Catholic Goan stories from Goa,
Yes.
set maybe 20, 30, 40 years back.
80 years
80
now I
years
would back this thing. But I find the Goan unique.
Why?
That is it.
Why?
He, and it all comes from the building of the barns, the khazans and things like that. I am able to explain now that why we are Susagad. We know, everybody knows we are Susagad, but why is explained with the barns.
Of course, the Buns are important part of Shoram's
Yeah.
life because it's an island
Yeah.
and the Buns have reclaimed vast areas there. And it's a topic we don't understand very well ourselves even till today. How important it is, how much work has gone into it, how many thousands, maybe 2,000, someone said 2,000 kilometers of bunding walls are there across Goa. So yeah,
But this requiem, it concentrates, I thought I must concentrate on our traditions and the way we behave at a Bikar St. John, or how we deliver invitation, how what expressions. The gentleman was saying that we have so many interjections at the, Dio Ditalo, Pirajit Mue. I thought this was what Portugal had given to us. It's not. This is coming to us from 6,000 years back when they were, our fellows were satisfied people. Jo Ditalo, Pirajitma, these are expressions which are there. They did that desire, what my grandmother said, want not, waste not. These
True.
are the two things which most Goans, that is why we don't, the fellow will promise you that he's coming to work next day, but don't turn up for a week.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a different lifestyle.
I'm telling you, Goans fascinate me.
Why did you use the title Requiem for a Goan? I
Because-
thought it was a bit pessimistic, and the
Yes.
Goan is shown as sitting with a Fini bottle on a Voltaire on this
Yeah.
armchair, and actually he's in a coffin, and everyone is gathered around him, and he's quite blissfully ignorant. So,
Yes.
so what's your point? You feel that we are losing this lifestyle?
According to me, the each civilization, because what I am going to prove in that last book, which I am going to put online free for everybody to read, Goa's Wellness Conquistas, is that civilization lasts for 6,000 years. They develop, and then nature slowly, something like Kido, a worm gets into the system where the whole thing
Crumbles.
slowly eaten up from inside, like termites. They eat the thing and the thing. So according to me now, our children are not interested in learning Konkani. They prefer all the time playing with the mobiles and all things like that, or speaking in Konkani, or the way we say expressions and all. They're all missing, gone. Dant astana tone hanjamde. Who has heard that expression now? Who hears it today? Puesena tarir puelo bosso. I mean, look at the humor, and there's only in the Goan a sort of load of gold which is put in our character. What humor! Bang! We suddenly out of the blue, you'll find ordinary people giving expression which is amazing. Yeah.
Your books are also sketched by our common friend Mel D'Souza,
Yes.
who
man,
is
yes,
based in
man.
Canada.
Yeah.
And fascinating drawings. We must photograph some of them and share them with the viewer.
Yeah.
How did you? I mean, you just got to know him through the Canada.
No, again, like that gentleman was saying, everything is by chance. He had written a book about Saligaon, and
Right.
my daughter-in-law was traveling to Abu Dhabi, so he wanted to send books with her. So he came into the house, and she asked him, my father-in-law is writing a book, and he's looking for a gentleman to illustrate the thing. So he says, Joe, he says, when I heard that, I said, every Goan wants to write a book. So he says, oh no, not again. He says, and because she was doing a favor, he says, I told her, okay, give me the manuscript. So I gave him the manuscript. 3 days later, he phoned me. He said, Joe, The book is wonderful, and not only that, it says, I'm going to do it free for you. But we sat down, and then it's half the value of Requiem for a Goan and as well as Konkani Cocktail is due to his illustrations. They are simple and match the thing, match
The text.
text. Match the
My finger stopped on a page which says what makes a Goan a Goan.
Yes.
What's your answer?
I told you, he's unique, and it's a pleasure describing what a Goan is. We leave Goa, sit at a bar in Toronto, Sydney, London, and we talk about what we left at home. I mean, there couldn't be somebody more humorous than a guy. And on the other hand, you have the Red Indian smoking his peace pipe in his tepi, the Finland fellows up in the north eating his whale blubber while sitting in his igloo. But we are the only fellows. We go outside, then we start boasting about how life is and how life was and is in this place. And it's amazing.
A Konkani Cocktail, humorous short stories in Amchi Bas with English translations.
Yes.
So each story here has a Konkani version and an English version.
Yes. Same thing, translated word for word.
Filsuche Amiga, for example, becomes Phyllis's friends.
Yes.
Okay. Word for word, in the sense you want people to read it in both the versions, learn the language.
When I came, so I had started on this, finished it. Then I started on my Goa's Wellness Conquistas, a historical account of Goa, Gomantak. I wouldn't say Goa Wellness is Gomantak. So I started reading on that. But when I came down to Goa about 3-4 years back, 17, I saw Konkani not being taught in the schools in Roman script. Instead, Konkani is being taught in the Devanagari script. For me, when I was doing all this historical studies, for me, what is the advantage Goans have over the rest of India? Why is our living standard higher than what it is in the rest of India? The reason is because the Portuguese taught us the Roman script. If I use Cortana software on the manuscript that I'm writing and I write it in Konkani and I punch Susan or whatever who's reading the thing, half the words are exactly as the English pronunciation. They, E, and only Ladaina, that sort of thing can't be taught. It is what enabled us to interact with the British when they came here in 1798 with the England-French wars, where we learned to speak with them. Have you breakfasted? And the English were impressed that, somebody who doesn't know English picks up these small words, crams a whole lot of idea into a just small thing. And that is why they took us to Africa, to this, gave us those government jobs and all. That has made a world of difference to the living standards of the Goans.
So, of course, then it goes through a range of different stories, right to the modern times where you're complaining about the telephone and having problems with the telephones.
Yes.
Now, I think many people have given up on landlines. That's a different story. Then you have stories about the Konkan Railway, about Hastolo, Nirotolo, Laugh or Cry, Sopon, Ek Shermao. Very interesting. So your point is that these stories are also in Amchi Bas. I found that interesting.
Yeah.
Because in my father's generation, no one referred to it as Konkani. It was Amchi Bas.
Amchi Bas.
To Amchi Bas Uloita, in that sense. Yeah.
But the reason why I wrote that was, as a kid, my mom used to send me over to Diwar. My grandfather and grandmother from my mom's side are from some Matthias in Diwar. So I used to go there. Those guys are all theatrists. I'm telling you, shallow, sedate, that is serious fellas. But Divarkas, oh, they love to be with the theatre, Bingal Road, Hallo, M. Boyer, this thing, So, what my grandfather used to do was that these traveling street plays, he had an angon in front of the house, so they used to
Courtyard,
come.
courtyard.
Yeah, and that day I saw the street plays being all are skits. What I have written is skits. And the first conversation, for example, about the son phoning from Washington, they're saying you need only two chairs facing away
Okay.
from one another.
Okay.
And this,
Yeah. So the son is phoning from Washington,
yeah,
and it's a typical kind of story of the diaspora in that sense.
Yeah.
Loneliness and
yeah.
waiting for the call, and finally the call comes, and what happens, and very and it's a story which would touch many people here because they've been probably on either one side or the other side of this phone call.
Yes. On the other side, both sides, yes. But they are meant to be skits, nothing else.
They are skits.
Here, mother is being told that I'm getting married, but he doesn't tell that he's getting married the next day and why he's doing it the next day. Then she has the problem of who to tell. He's getting married and she can't tell anybody, so she decides she will tell the priest in a confession. So it goes on and on and on.
And there's
But
also a language learning element
learning process
because you can read both the this and
yes,
you can check your words
simultaneously.
simultaneously.
How it's to be done. Or you can ask your neighbor, can you just say the words out?
Interesting concept.
And there's a parrot also who learns to speak, who has been taught how to speak all the bad words and all in Konkani. So I thought Mel also loved this one. This is great, yeah.
Very interesting concept. But Joe, don't you think it's a bit amazing that a lot of Goan writing has been done by people who have lived outside Goa?
That's because we miss being here.
Absence makes the grow fonder.
Yes, absolutely.
What was your migration experience like?
I have not migrated.
No, I mean in the past as a youngster growing up.
I always said, all my brothers have migrated out. I said to myself, I was in love with Goa. I mean, going Kantaing early, 3 o'clock in the morning, going raiding mangoes. I have had a wonderful life, I have done more things, I suppose, than 100 people Goans have done. I have gone with a backpack all over Europe, and I've been to the Arctic Circle, to the Great Barrier Reef, to Africa. Just to be with people, see how they do things differently, putting lady fingers in curries so that the curry draws. In Africa, it's great to be with other people.
You were born in Calcutta.
I was born in Calcutta.
Your father was a
musician. Yeah.
A lot of Goan musicians, especially from Shorao
Yes,
Divar.
and Shorao Divar. That was the way for them to break out from this thing. Yeah.
It gave them opportunity.
Yes.
And then being in Christian Brothers and St. Stephen's were quite elite institutions in that sense.
Yeah, but nobody was there. I was the first to get into an education. There was nobody to tell me what I should do. I used to max by maths papers right through the school. But nobody told me, you should do this and all. The principal said, do English literature. So I went and did English literature. But then I come to know how to organize and how to, the different structures that are there for the story, how the book should be. So I have employed all my techniques. And now, once I finish this work, which is done practically, I intend to write 3 theats in Konkani. Just to show, how the thing can be done.
Tell us about this work. This is a study of Shorao and its buns.
Yes, and its buns, actually, according to me, the buns were created between 4000 BC and 2200 BC. I find, according to me, the temple at Marseille, they have the information, but they don't want to spread it. because the guy who built the barns is a Kunbi. He came from Devar. The whole story is very interesting. It'll take me, it's 250 pages. What is
That will be your next book? That will be your next
yes,
book?
it'll be a next book, but it's going to be put on the web. I feel that at 80, spending time trying to sell a book is not what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to give it, it's my like gift to the people who supported me. When Requiem for a Goan came out, of course, my family never believed that I could write a book or write anything.
Yeah.
Then they came, 5,000 here, 10,000 here, 5,000, 4,000, 3,000. All the cost of the book was I
It took care of
recovered.
itself, yeah.
So Konkani Cocktail, for example, was published just before COVID hit. So what we did was, I had 55,000 worth of books I had sold. I distributed all that money to people who were suffering from, because all my friends and all, I am friendly with the children of those musicians, cooks and things like that in Delhi where I spent 50 years, and I saw they were in very bad shape. In Goa, for 1 year without a salary or without any income, things like that, I thought that I got to do something, and I spent that money with them for that.
What's your advice to the younger generation as far as writing goes?
Now they are interested more in computers and how to, for example, my grandson now he's doing some robotics and things like that, how to fly all these things all over the place and all. He is technical minded.
Yeah, but that's another form of writing, even if they do it online.
But
are they forgetting their culture? Are they forgetting their traditions?
Yes. They are not interested in what I am interested. I miss my old stuff sitting in the balcony.
But Joe, I feel even in our time, our parents said the same thing about us. But with time, as we grow older and we start questioning who are we, where are we from, and all, probably the questions come about.
I know that I am repeating many things to my children. What my dad said to me, "Tum ka sogle aaye the mein wala." Things like that. I know life is a repetition, but times have changed, and according to me, that 6,000 years of whatever had happened here slowly is in transition, and we are now, for example, they say history began at Sumer. That's the first civilization.
Yeah.
I find their civilization also. They invented the wheel. They invented things like boats, and started trading, for which they needed a language to do, but 6,000 years were kaput for them also. So I am convinced that with this, and especially now, with liberation and things like that, I am not convinced. I find that it is an end of an era for us. Only one thing now, that what I consider this is my lifetime work, if I can sort of tell the Goans why we should be proud and all, I think this is the most important part of what I have to do before I die. I'm hoping that, I am kept alive until this thing gets through.
Don't worry. Thank you so much, Joe.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Joe. I mean, there are 2 points of view. One is that we are a civilization on a decline, as you made it very strongly. And I mean, this is a constant reframe that, I feel we've been thinking of for the last 200-300 years at least. Maybe you might be right. I hope you're wrong. Maybe we might find ourselves one day, maybe we won't, but also your writing will be there for a long time. The work you're doing on Shorao and its buns and all would be interesting. We look forward to that.
Yeah.
Thanks for spending time with us today. Thanks so much.
It's a great pleasure to be here. And really, you're doing a great job.
Not at all, just something small.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks.